On this week's episode of the K12 Tech Talk podcast, we dive into some new data that shows how much screen time students are receiving in schools. Then we talk about vibe coding in K12. Will this help overworked IT staff or create additional security concerns when vibe-coded applications start hitting the classroom? Thanks for listening.
Live from the NTP studios, this is the K12 Tech Talk podcast. My name is Josh.
Again. This is episode 274. Mark, how's it going?
It's going. We obviously don't have Josh, though, this week.
He's like looking at horses or something.
Yeah, so we learned this week that the two favorite things in Josh's life are horses and Budweiser.
I had no idea.
I had no idea because when the Anheuser-Busch horses are in town, he just canceled on us. And usually we have like I can't make it this week. Can we do another day? Can we go early? Can we go late? He just said, I'm out. You guys are on your own. I think he's right now like staring at horses with like a single tear streaming down his face, just saluting them.
I was thinking through like, because we poke fun at each other a lot on when we have to miss. And it is, we do 50 plus episodes a year. So it's bound to happen that we're going to miss some and it's going to be that kind of thing. And usually it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
There's some details that are happening in our lives of something's come up. We literally can't change that time. Horses was not on my radar for Josh. And like most of the time it's stuff that we either like, it might be a trip. So we know well in advance. But a lot of times it's literally that day we're figuring out that our evening has changed and given us a curveball. But we've known about these horses for a while.
Right. Right.
As if it's the equivalency of Alaska. I don't know.
Like I said, there was no opportunity to shift the time. Like he needed a whole day alone with the horses.
It was the entire day is blocked out for these Anheuser-Busch horses. That are a big deal in St. Louis and stuff, but still, I didn't know that Josh was a fanboy of them. Had no idea. So, Mark, we just saw each other again in person. You hung out with us in Missouri. You had an adventure getting back to Boston, I know, but had a great time at Midwest Tech Talk. Had a great time with you, of course, again. The three of us got to do a session together. What did you think? What did you think of Midwest Tech Talk?
Oh, I mean, congrats again on a great conference. It is. I think I even saw some posts on LinkedIn from some of the vendors. Like, this is the most unique tech conference that they ever have been to, and it certainly is. You walk away with bags of stuff, and these are like very high quality swag.
Yeah, it's not
this
trash.
Isn't like
No.
I looked at the prize thing. You guys give prizes away. There was a what's the Bar TiVo thing or the bar?
He has like a wine, like it makes
cocktails. And
it makes
like,
drinks. We gave away like a arcade box, like a big box.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We gave away a Nintendo Switch 2 that's gone up in price.
And you are not paying for a single meal or drink at all when you are there. Like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is provided by the conference, and these are full meals. So
it is
great.
So Midwest Tech Talk. This was our 10th one, which has been crazy to say, and we called it like the multiverse. We've always done these silly themes like Jurassic Tech, Tech Busters, like Ghostbusters. We did like a Tech to the Future, back to the Tech. I don't remember what it was, but this was just one big throwback to all of those. So it was a pretty so we called it like the multiverse. It was just all over the place on what the 2 days were. But yeah, we had a great time.
One of the sessions, it was the NTP session. Everybody who went to that session walked away with a bottle of custom-made bourbon.
It had our pictures on it. That was kind of weird.
It had our pictures on it.
Yeah, David D-Ren at ntp-inc.com if you're interested in SOC pricing, cybersecurity stuff. Yeah, he said he did that and he just went rogue. Like he knew that we may or may not like that. I think, again, Josh isn't here, so I'll talk about him. I think it was Josh's dream come true. David didn't know how I would feel about it in particular, I think. So he just went rogue and put our faces on that thing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very good time. And we had, all kinds of cybersecurity talk there, AI talk, of course. I think one of the big focuses we have, and Mark, you're already talking about when you come back next year that you might do a session with it. But we kind of announced that we need to have some focus. And I think this is just big picture stuff on the next generation of tech director or CIO or just tech department leadership in general. I think we have a lot of young techs or whatever, early years of experienced techs that need to step up and start presenting. So I think you're going to come back next year and help teach techs how to present, because a lot of times we just need to put ourselves out there. We have knowledge, we have skill, we have wisdom, and we need to share it because that's what makes the community great. So that's going to be some kind of theme or focus of the next year.
I have some breaking news here. Josh has just sent us pictures of the horses.
No way.
But here's the thing. The horses are in the truck. So it's just a Budweiser truck and no horses. Is that
it?
Is that it? Is that what Josh bailed on us to watch a Budweiser truck go by?
He set up chairs to watch a Budweiser truck go by with the horses inside the truck.
Correct. I thought they were going to march past him. This is disappointing.
I don't know. I don't understand. Anyway, Mark, you're going to come back. You're going to help people learn how to present.
Yeah, it should be fun.
I think it should be fun. VIZOR was there. I'll talk about them. They do your IT asset management for your school. They can help you manage your one-to-one program, your inventory. They do barcode checkout, and they can track device repairs. They also have a help desk ticketing option as well. Check out VIZOR.cloud/K12TechTalk. That's VIZOR.cloud/K12TechTalk. Mark, I know that you got some news for us, some things that we were wanting to unpack that we're talking about today, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, let's start with Common Sense Media. Common Sense Media does some really good reviews of different AI tools, has a multiple points that they look at all the different AI tools that are out there, the large language models and such. And they have just rated their worst possible score yet for an AI tool. Can you guess what this one is? It's the one that every IT director is complaining about in this country. It is AI mode. Google searches AI mode and AI overview just got the worst score for a variety of issues, but mainly around safety. So they tested more than 600 prompts in AI overview and AI mode. And things like self-harm, suicide, eating disorders, the AI features frequently failed to catch clear signs of a crisis in the user. So the AI overview, I don't think I realized that these are two different things. The AI overview is what everybody gets when they do a Google search. It only provided the appropriate crisis resource or hotline response about 58% of the time when somebody expressed some sort of harm or self-harm issues. AI mode was a little bit better, about 77%, but that's still very, very low in comparison to the other tools that they have tested. So they are really reporting and sending a red flag on this one that it is riddled with unreliable and inaccurate answers in addition to the safety issues. And the AI mode successfully completed 100% of tested homework assignments when they were simulating students completing their homework in AI mode. So I know I've heard plenty of IT directors talking about the concerns of this one. How do we block this? How do we turn this off? You don't really need an account in order to use it. Anybody with a Google search has access to AI mode. And here is Common Sense raising the alarm.
Thank you, Common Sense. At the bottom of the thing, I mean, all you see is things in red and dark orange, unacceptable, high risk.
Yeah.
And I would say Common Sense Media is a trusted source. I use it when I'm doing movie reviews, trying to see what's acceptable content for my kids. And it's usually pretty spot on. Like, I don't feel like it's like got a bunch of biased stuff in it. It's not Common Sense has something against Google. It's they legit did this stuff and the results aren't that great.
Right. And if you look at the volume of tests that they did, this was no small trial here. So clearly they're trying to pressure test this one, and they are now urging Google to provide parents and schools with an off switch for these AI search features.
Give us the button, man. Put it in the admin console. Give us the button.
Speaking of raising the alarm, databreaches.net has been reporting on the story of the Navigate 360 breach for the last 4 months. And now feels like it is monthly. They are providing an update, which is that there are no updates.
I'm glad that you're touching on this because we had listener Whitney. She emailed asking us to cover this, asking for an update. And then this is the update.
Yeah. So just to kind of go back in time here, the hacktivist group operating under the name Internet YIF Machine had exfiltrated 93 gigs of data. That was about 8.3 million tip records. Navigate 360 provides a anonymous tip service. They also white label it so other companies can operate an anonymous tip line underneath their platform or within their platform. So these systems, even though they're built in the same infrastructure, they go back from 1987 all the way up through this year. All this data was essentially stolen by a hacktivist group. They originally just wanted to provide it to researchers. They did in turn sell it. I'm not quite sure what the update is on that sale, but databreaches.net did see an internet listing for these records.
I don't understand the 1987 thing.
My guess is that I'm going to assume that there haven't been anonymous online tip systems since 1987, and they just digitized a bunch of ones. But this did start back in March of this year. In late March, Navigate 360 CEO JP Gilbot stated that the company had engaged with a third-party forensics company, but had not confirmed that any sensitive information has been accessed or misused. But again, databreaches.net has seen this data. They have accessed this themselves. So this is, in their opinion, a confirmed breach, even though the company has not acknowledged it. Databreaches.net is now calling on legislatures and lawmakers. They have written letters to the attorneys general stating we need some sort of intervention to hold this company accountable, since they are simply going quiet on this, as is all of the other companies that use their platform for their anonymous tip lines.
I'm trying to think of what that approach is like. So you know that the data is out there, sitting out there that the bad guys have access to. It's terribly sensitive. Could impact a person greatly if whatever was said was found out. But it's like, so then all the other bad guys are just staring at that data and they're going to try to figure out how to exploit those people potentially. And no one's doing that yet. So then we're all just kind of staring at each other to see if anything bad happens. Is that, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the company originally was on the pathway towards disclosing this to their customers. The tough thing about this, though, is a lot of the data is anonymized. They did confirm that they have been able to identify who some of the people are in this, or who the tips belong to. But you're also dealing with a gigantic net of people who possibly could have submitted a tip to this and have no idea that they were involved in this. So It's a tricky situation across all fronts. But made even more difficult when the company has gone silent for so long.
Yeah, like even talking about, the very high risk disclosure stuff, child abuse, sexual assault. Do you contact those people and turn over all that trauma with that stuff and tell them that it's out on the dark web?
Even if you know who they are, right? That's the first problem.
Yeah, so then this is just a company not admitting that anything. But then once you say that this is out there, then you've admitted that it's out there.
Right.
I don't know. I bet their attorney just said, let's just be quiet and see what happens.
Who knows?
So listener Whitney, we got nothing.
We're sorry, Whitney. But databreaches.net is on this. They are not letting go of this particular issue. And so kudos to them for sticking on this for us. And finally, ClassLink has come out with a study on screen time. ClassLink has analyzed data for 5.5 million students. Okay. And here's what they have found. So this is, again, 5.5 million students across 1,107 school districts that use ClassLink. And so that system is able to kind of pull some takeaways for how screen time or how computers are used. They are saying, in their words, this is lower than expected total screen time across both school and home via school-owned devices.
Really?
The average student logs about 41 minutes of screen time per day. ClassLink notes that this is less than a typical child spends watching a single sitcom episode. High focus on learning was one of the other major takeaways. Of those 41 minutes, 33 minutes, about 80%, are spent on learning applications, meaning that 4 out of 5 of every minute on a device is dedicated to actual instruction rather than games or social media or just aimless browsing. They also noticed that 78% of learning sessions run from start to finish with zero digital distractions, that students are on task, that they're not moving off of their digital learning apps and going on to some more distracting technology about 80% of the time. So they're generally on task, and that screen time is shown to be the lowest in students in grades K-2. So first off, what are your takeaways from this data, and what kind of questions do you have?
First off, let me talk about Meter. Check out Meter. They can do your stack wired, wireless, cellular with hardware and software that they build. Predictable pricing, no surprise renewals. Check out meter.com/K12 Tech Talk to book a demo. And then to the point of what we're talking about, I like the sum. Okay, I like what I'm hearing, but I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I'm all in on the 41 minutes. It's if you're looking at all ClassLink and all devices and all users, and you tell me that K2 is the lowest, is that what's offsetting our middle school, high school kids? Because I know that my school district, I would say, is an average school district in America. Mm-hmm. And our screen time, I think you could ask every single one of our high school kids how much time they spend on a Chromebook during the day, and it's not 41 minutes. It's higher than that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I'm one of those school districts that's the whole. That school, that point the finger at us. We got the kids just glued to Chromebooks. I think I'm a representation of what would be normal in America. I want to believe all these numbers. But I like to see them broken down more, I think, because I think there's probably a reason that these numbers are low like this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I think it definitely felt a little bit lower. And I think that, when you think about the districts that are using ClassLink, they're probably automatically provisioning accounts for every student in the district. And I know, at least in my district, we would always find many, many accounts. I would say more in the lower grade levels. Mm-hmm. And in other subpopulations of students that just were never used. The student just didn't use a device or it wasn't developmentally appropriate. So I think if you are going to do an analysis like that, there's a large number of accounts that you need to kind of just take off the table. And I think that would drive that number of 41 minutes a little bit higher. But it does make you think, all right, if 41 minutes is the average, how many students are we seeing with 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe more of screen time use? I think that's the thing that I really want to hone in on.
Yes, 41 might very well be the average, but I think that's coming from some very high numbers and some very low numbers to get to that average. Yes, I agree with that. I would think that too.
So it's a difficult one. I think that when you talk to parents, they either are having challenge with this one or they're not. And I think that's what teachers are also experiencing too, is that, we all know that there's some habits and some patterns that we would like to adjust, but there are some students out there. There are a lot of kids in this country that are addicted to screens. There's a lot of adults that are addicted to screens, and I put myself in that category. And this is one glance of it, but I think what we really need to do is kind of hone in on the extreme cases, the kids that are spending 3, 4, 5 hours a day on a screen. And that doesn't include cell phones. That doesn't include the personal technology that they have in their pocket.
Yeah, we just did a thing with a group of kids. They got their phones out, and this was a non-school thing. It wasn't me pelting a bunch of kids. Get your phones out, boys and girls. Right. This was more of a parent group kind of vibe. And they were showing their phone usage screen time. And man, those numbers were high. So then you add those numbers with the school Chromebook numbers or the school device numbers. Like, that kid is is staring at a screen, which to the point of the person that wrote this article, right, and collected this data, I completely agree with. I mean, Lightspeed came out with those numbers. I feel like I saw some stuff with Clever, and I could be wrong on that. But ClassLink, we're all agreeing that we should get beyond the counting minutes thing, and let's focus in on the quality of content. Again, I guess to talk to your point of you as the adult, when I'm at school working, I mean, I'm looking at 4 screens, and I'm being very productive, and I would say my brain is yesterday and today got back from Midwest Tech Talk, scheduled for Provision Data Solutions to come to do our wireless work. Swapping out APs at all of our buildings. I had to do a bunch of VLAN and networking work. My brain is firing. I am
Yeah.
I don't think that brain activity is a negative in my life. Even me staring at 4 screens for my whole day. But then I got home, and Stephanie, my wife, she will say something to me because I will be laying down and I am just scrolling, and I just like people, like my kids are talking to me. Daddy, how was your day? I don't even answer. I'm just scrolling. And that's when I know, my brain's not doing what it's supposed to be doing.
I just opened the well-being app on my phone to see what's my screen time usage for the day. I'm going to say the number, but then I'm going to explain it. So bear with me here. Today, this is Thursday, I've spent 4 hours and 56 minutes on my phone. However,
okay,
about an hour of that is the phone app. So I don't think that's me staring at the phone app. That's me on calls.
Okay.
Right. And then the number one usage is Spotify, which I don't quantify Spotify as screen time. I'm not staring at Spotify. I'm listening to music. So
right,
how you calculate these numbers matters. And then you've got to look a little bit deeper into what somebody's actually spending their time doing, if it really is looking at a screen or just passively consuming music or talking on the phone. So tricky,
I think
tricky.
I keep, as we keep talking about screen time legislation stuff, I don't like the 25-minute elementary thing. I don't know why 25 bothers me so much, but I want to say 30 or 35. I just have a really hard time with that whole thing on, like, you're telling me on the 26-minute we've done something wrong with a kid. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time like with 25. I don't know why. Like, I just feel like we made it up. I feel like we made up 25 minutes. And then if that stuff gets into the middle school, high school level, I mean, a kid needs to be, I would more argue banter that kids need to be on their devices. Again, preparing kids for the real world. They're going to be seeing screens, whether that's a nurse, that's putting the medications that she just gave a patient. She's going to be using a screen. She's going to be using a thing. Someone taking an inventory, someone working at McDonald's, they're going to be using a screen. For every technology is everywhere in life. So mm-hmm. I have a hard time with what that number is supposed to look like at middle school, high school, secondary level too. If we just, I don't know. It just doesn't match up with what we're going to do when the kid steps out into college, into career, even into family.
Well, I mean, going through some of the examples that you mentioned around using screens for work, I think 25 minutes of passive entertainment type screen time, I think that's something we should aim for rather than looking at screen time as a whole. I agree. I'm not a fan of hard caps. I do think that we should set the environment up so that a student is only going to spend 25 minutes a day, if not less, on technology. But I'm not a fan of like hard caps. And that comes down to me worried that a student is going to race through an essay or race through an online activity so they don't get cut off at the 25 minutes. You know that there's going to be those hard cutoffs that people work under. But I think that's a reasonable amount of time for somebody to spend in school on technology. But I think we need to we need to create the environment for that to happen organically.
It takes, again, talking about my wife, Stephanie, she spends 25 minutes just putting stuff into the Instacart. Like, like we got no tomatoes this round. We went to the 26-minute.
Do you want to share your screen time while we're talking about this, or
I
we
guess
just move
I
on
should look that up? My gosh, what do you think it was today? I feel pretty good. I've been looking
while
at these.
You're doing that, Josh has sent an update that was just the trailer. The horses are still on the way, so he is seeing real horses today.
A daily average 3 hours 30 minutes. That's
is
down
that like 3 hours and 20 minutes of TikTok?
Looks like, well, just messages in general. I guess I text a lot. Facebook. Looks like I'm on my calculator a lot. That's weird. Facebook, calculator, YouTube. I stare at my calculator.
I think you're the only one out there whose number 3 or number 2 app is the calculator
That's
app.
That's messed up. No, YouTube, man. YouTube Reels or Shorts. YouTube Shorts get me.
Yeah.
They get me down. I've been in this bad. What's that guy's name? that movie that just came out, the scary movie with the indie guy.
Obsession?
Yes. The director of Obsession has like YouTube shorts, and they're just crazy, weird, sometimes scary, sometimes funny. They've been pumping them out for years. I get warped into that sometimes.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
It's like a guilty pleasure. Brings me down.
All right. Well, that's all I got for the news.
But before we get to the main topic, Fortinet, if you need anything with Fortinet, email fortinetpodcast@fortinet.com. They were at Midwest Tech Talk. Skip with Managed Methods, managedmethods.com. Skip was also at Midwest Tech Talk. Shout out to Skip. He did some cool stuff with 3D printing, gave my daughter Tinley some really cool 3D printed things at Midwest Tech Talk. Check out Fortinet, check out Managed Methods, and then NTP as well. David at ntp-inc.com. Mark, what you got for us?
All right. So while we were at Midwest Tech Talk, there was a session. It was a Gemini AI coding session. And in that, afterwards, Josh was texting you and I about it, that he learned how to vibe code and learned about a project that could replace a major app that he was considering buying. So that has led to a lot of conversations and a lot of, I would say, both eagerness and concern around the use of vibe coding in the K-12 environment. I have seen IT directors and CIOs and CTOs vibe coding their own ed tech apps for teachers to use. I've seen people vibe coding different scripts or kind of small time saver type programs. I've also seen some off-the-shelf products that are being marketed as ed tech products for school districts that are obviously vibe coded. We're starting to see the first products that were built from the ground up using AI. So my question for you, the conversation tonight is, how would you handle vibe coding if you were approached by somebody on your team, if you were approached by somebody out in a school, like a teacher, or if you yourself wanted to vibe code something, an application, small, medium, or large? What would you do about that? And are you doing anything in your district to handle vibe coding?
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot, Mark.
Sorry.
I guess let's will you take me a half a step back? Define vibe coding. Let me know what I'm talking about.
It's a good starting point. So vibe coding is essentially using natural language in a large language model like Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude, oftentimes using some more advanced tools within those to generate code. From that, you can either deploy that code yourself using something like GitHub and an application hosting tool. There are also tools out there. Lovable is one, Replit is another, where you can vibe code and host and go live with an application from soup to nuts without ever touching a piece of code yourself. So vibe coding is the act of using AI to generate code, even when you have never been a computer coder yourself.
I think I shared this story before, but I'll share it again. I had a teacher come in wanting to talk to me about a program that he was working on. And I'm all about this conversation. I'm all about, hey, let me know what's going on. And I just gave someone this advice this last week. Like if a teacher, and I didn't used to be this way, but if a teacher comes in or does a ticket, there's some kind of need in whatever it is that they're saying. I didn't used to think like that. I was just ready to say, no, close ticket or no, get out of here. But there's a need in there. So yeah, this is awesome. Teacher walked in. They're wanting to talk about some program thing they've been working on. Yeah, show me this, whatever. And then it ended up being that the teacher had done some vibe coding and was basically, they didn't like this assessment thing that we had been using and wanted to make their own thing. Well, that goes, and that wasn't, there wasn't malicious intent behind what the teacher was doing, but that went against policy, procedure, and all that we've put in place with tech department and curriculum department. You have to use a district approved application, and we don't have vibe coding or a product service that was created via vibe coding on our list of approved things. That's one example I have where like, hey man, we can't do it. Now, I could think of a lot of times where this can come into play within the tech department itself, that we're trying to do something and like you just said, like we don't have the money or we can't quite find the tool that's wanting to do the thing that we're doing. Things as simple as an inventory system for the typical projector bulbs that we go through. I can easily start to get there where it makes sense. Let's just code something up ourselves. But then that raises some questions. I know that we'll talk about who keeps that thing updated. Well, if that person leaves, where does that thing reside? Is there data living in that thing? And I don't have the skills to know that it's protected well. I think that's what starts to come up quickly for me as I think through that.
Yeah, the first time I tried vibe coding was I needed something to organize my day. I go from like to-do app to to-do app and try to, different calendar apps. And I'm always trying to organize myself better. So I thought I can build my own. When I got to the point where I needed to connect it and create a project in Google to connect my Google Calendar and my tasks and my Gmail, that's where I paused and said, I don't know what I'm doing here. Mm-hmm. I don't know if what I'm doing is about to expose my own personal data to the entire web, if I've just made a tunnel for anybody on the web to be able to see my data. So I at that point, I stopped. I would be concerned for somebody who has vibe coded something, they've built something that looks really, really good, but it's being connected to some of our live applications. That would be my first concern, right? Are we going to make a tunnel for somebody on the outside to be able to see some data? My second concern is you are now going to host data. You're going to create data. And that's where I get even more concerned with teacher applications, teacher or student facing applications that they're going to be entering things, managing records. And are we going to make it more difficult for us to keep our data secure if we are using applications where the user, the creator of it, has never built and maintained and hosted an application like this? Then again, I've seen examples of districts like Peninsula School District out in the Pacific Northwest with Chris Hagel as the CTO director. He has a background in this and he has built some amazing applications and saved the district hundreds of thousands of dollars simply by building the applications that teachers need. A little bit more customized to what they need, a little bit more internal because you're not having a third party hosting the data. So I could see a world where if you do know what you're doing, this could be safer, this could be better, more customized to your district's needs. I'm really on the fence on this one, though.
Yeah, we talked to, I know at least one tech director at the GAMUS conference, and I feel like we had two conversations about this because there was a session that went on as well, where there were some folks in Georgia, in K12 Tech departments in Georgia, that are completely embracing this. They're doing vibe coding in their district, similar to what you just said. But I know the one guy that we talked to, he talked about you're going to hire a person in your tech department that their specialty is in coding and vibe coding. I can start to see a path for that when, like, if you've established position, not just like, hey, Chris made this thing and then Chris is gone and nobody knows how to do that thing that Chris was doing. But you have a position where that position is responsible for proper documentation of what they've done and the whole bit. And that if that person leaves, you get to hire another person to take that position on and all those projects on. Man, I would say if you like look at my tech fees budget line and all of the subscriptions I do, and you start chipping away at things that could be vibe coded and specialized for my district, you could replace a couple of those and you've carved out a salary for another person in my tech department if you can cancel some subscriptions. That makes sense to me. It still scares me because I'm not I maybe that's what we're looking at too, is the whole, what's life going to look like in K12 Tech as AI continues to grow and vibe coding takes off more.
Budgets continue to sink.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of small school district K12 Techs or medium size with coders, but maybe that's what we start doing. Maybe we start hiring those people.
It's interesting. It feels like very full circle to me because when I took over as CIO in my old district, we had a lot of homegrown applications. Our district had built our SIS, and we have been running our own SIS for a couple of decades before I took over and we went to an off-the-shelf product. I was carrying on this process of moving from homegrown applications over to off-the-shelf products. There were a lot of growing pains. There were a lot of challenges in doing so, right? We missed the ability to have customizations and have tools and applications that were very, very much built for our district. But at the same time, I lived through the person who made and built this homegrown application suddenly one day being out and gone. Yeah. And all of a sudden I was left with an application that nobody else in the world knew how to build and maintain. And that is a very, very precarious situation to be in, both for you as an IT professional, but also for your district. If your special education system, your bus routing transportation system, was vibe coded and built by one person and now they're gone, you have a massive liability on your hands. And one of the most critical functions in your district could be suddenly without support, without maintenance, overnight if that one person leaves. So I'm very, very concerned about the rise of vibe coding in IT departments and in K12 technology, simply because we're all trying to get better at security and privacy. But I think districts are going to do what they need to do as budgets get smaller and smaller, and vibe coding can be a way to help if done correctly, if done smartly, if done with experience and knowledge in this area. I don't know.
What you were just saying, it flashed me back to previous school district. We were a power school district, and Power School would allow you to do a lot of customization that you could get carried away with. Mm-hmm. And the woes, I remember going to conferences or being on video calls of people that inherited, they walked into a Power School district, and Power School was kind of a stick out sys that allowed some of those customizations and those custom fields and things. And you could be absolutely overwhelmed by just the custom that worked for a while. And then, you'd have Power School come out with features based upon feedback of their community where those custom things weren't used anymore or they weren't needed anymore. So you end up with this mess. And that was with a commercial product.
Right.
Let alone, again, what you're saying, you go back to, hey, Steve, can you make something real quick? And technician Steve makes a killer inventory system. And then he leaves. And you're like, I don't even know what he built this thing on.
Yeah. Is it safe?
Because you don't need a computer science degree to do this stuff, right? You just get to talk. You just get to type naturally.
I think what I'm excited about is the little stuff. Like you mentioned, the ability to customize your existing applications, the ability to write scripts and go into Gemini and ChatGPT and say, I need a PowerShell script to move data out of this system and into another one. I think those are the applications that right now I'm on board with. And I think that's a great way for IT departments to make their job a little bit easier and use AI for good. When you start having an application where somebody has to log in, a teacher or a student is entering, reviewing, uploading data, I think that is where we need to follow our own advice and make sure that we have the right people managing and building these applications. We're raising up the expectations on our software vendors. I think we can't all of a sudden do the opposite and build our own applications and deploy them to our district. So at this point, that's my line.
Yeah, I've cracked jokes about sometimes I feel like Infinite Campus is like literally some computer like sitting in Charlie's garage, like, hey, our Infinite Campus is running slow, and I feel like someone puts in a new stick of RAM kind of thing. And we're wanting to know more about the inside of that, let alone me just being like, I'm not okay with that, but I am okay with Mrs. Smith, doing some vibe coding for her ELA class now.
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith, let me know if you have any questions after I give you a 30-minute, PD on this. There's some hypocrisy in that if we're not careful. I got a question for you, Mark, but first, check out Howard.com, Howard Technology Solutions, a new sponsor on the K12 Tech Talk podcast. They partner with schools all across the country. They help technology leaders maximize their budgets with solutions. What sets them apart is they have a lot of former educators on their team, a lot of former K12 techs on their team. They can help you with your laptops, your desktops, your servers, your kiosk, and more. Check out Howard.com for the full line card of all that they offer. Check out Howard. Mark, what say you then if vibe coding is coming up in my school district, teachers asking questions, or even my tech is asking me questions? I mean, do I need to policy this thing and say, heck no? Do I just need to be informative? What do you think I do? What do you think I do right now? I
think doing what you're already doing with your outside vendors is, raising the expectations, starting to put some standards in place. What questions are you asking your vendors when you start to adopt new tools? How can you then interpret that and apply that to vibe coded applications? If you are going to ask a vendor for their SOC 2 certification and ensure that they have a good rating on Common Sense Media and they're a trusted application across other partners. I know we've in our district, we would only evaluate vendors after they had recommendations from at least 2 other local districts. Can you apply those same principles to vibe coded applications? It doesn't feel like you're picking on the teacher and saying, I don't trust you. You're simply saying, these are the expectations we have of all of our EdTech apps that needs to also apply to the ones that we've built. And then if you can, or if you need to, start to look at what's a smaller, kind of safer box that you can put these applications into. Can you just say, we encourage you to explore vibe coding. However, our line in the sand is you're not going to have logins, any application that needs a login. You're not going to have data hosted. You're not going to connect to any production systems. Those are the types of applications that you'll be allowed to vibe code to make sure that we're safe.
Yeah, that's an interesting spot. I mentioned inventory system thing of a small degree, whatever, just projectors or bulbs or something stupid. Maybe I'm okay with that. But if I got to log in and do some student data, some staff data, tap me out.
Yeah. Unless, like I said, unless you have a way to vet these tools or these applications. There are a lot of really, really smart folks who have left the IT world, the technology world, the software development world to become teachers. So we do have some really talented folks in our schools who want to be able to better their own classroom. So I think we have to keep a very close eye on this. I think right now I'm a little bit more on the danger side, but I can see a world where this can definitely help a school district very soon.
So I shouldn't vibe code an infinite campus alternative.
Yeah.
I shall call it Campus Infinite. Anyway, if you have questions about this, or if you've done some cool vibe coding at your school district in your tech department, let us know. Email us at info@K12TechTalkPodcast.com. Mark, you got anything else on this?
No, I think that's a really good point. I'm super interested to see what people are building and how they're doing this. I hope I didn't sound like negative, like I don't want to see your vibe coded stuff, but I really do want to see what people are doing because, like I said, we are IT professionals. We know how to use this stuff and hopefully how to use it safely. So
yeah, I think we're in that pocket of this is new technology. So there's going to be, some back and forth and it needs to get grinded out a little bit. So if you're doing some cool stuff with it, let us know what you're doing. Again, info@K12TechTalkPodcast.com. August is, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have not asked Josh his opinion on that one. So
he's going to say,
so.
I was going to say, he's going to say no. Anyway, August is coming. Back to school is coming. I'm sure we're going to start talking about that in the coming days. If you're out there and you're in the middle of your summer projects, we are with you. We see you. We hear you. We are in that thing as well. I've had 2 days of wireless stuff, just trying to swim along with it. And a lot of projects are thanks to our sponsors that are in your schools. Incident IQ, they can do your help desk. They can help you out with what you got going on. So check out Incident IQ. Mark, anything else for the good of the cause?
I got nothing.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Oh,
we do have horse pictures.
shoot.
So if you want to check your phone, Josh did send horse pictures. He has seen the Budweiser horses. They're real.
I'm so excited. Excited. See you next time.
We might not be the same. You share the same pain that I do.
The views and opinions expressed on the K12 Tech Talk podcast are the personal opinions of Josh, Chris, and Mark, and do not represent the views or opinions of our sponsors or other organizations that we're affiliated with. The material and information presented here is for general information and entertainment purposes only. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
We were buying words about the phrase of the